Some would say that the reason the UN prevailed when the League of Nations flopped was its provision for making war, invariably called peacekeeping these days, go figure. The prophets saw that one coming too.
The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like that of many people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. Yahweh of hosts musters the army for battle. Isaiah 13:4.
That's right. Yahweh himself has made it possible for the whole world to get together and fight him and his chosen people if they want to. And the time is coming when they will want to. The psalmist paints this pathetic picture for us.
Why do the nations rage, and the people plot a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against Yahweh, and against his anointed, saying, Let us break their bonds in pieces, and cast away their cords from us.
God, of course, is not impressed with their pitiful rantings.
He who sits in the heavens shall laugh. Yahweh shall hold them in derision, and he shall speak to them in his wrath, and distress them in his deep displeasure. Yet I have set my king on my set-apart hill in Zion. I will declare the decree. Yahweh has said to me,
that is, to his Messiah,
You are my son. Today I have begotten you. Ask of me, and I will give you the nations for your inheritance, and the ends of the earth for your possession. You shall break them with a rod of iron. You shall dash them to pieces, like a potter's vessel.
The psalmist finishes with some good advice to the nations.
Now therefore be wise, O kings, be instructed, you judges of the earth. Serve Yahweh with reverence, and rejoice with trembling. Kiss the Son, lest he be angry, and you perish in the way, when his wrath is kindled but a little. Blessed are all those who put their trust in him. Psalm 2.
This is the first hint we have that all the world's nations will try to join forces to defeat Yahweh. It won't work. David prophesied concerning the nations' rebellion.
The nations have sunk down in the pit which they made, in the net which they hid. Their own foot is caught.
And then he prayed,
Arise, O Yahweh, do not let man prevail. Let the nations be judged in your sight. Put them in reverence, O Yahweh, that the nations may know themselves to be but men. Psalm 9:15, 19, and 20.
Isaiah saw it coming as well.
Woe to the multitude of many people who make a noise like the roar of the seas, and to the rushing of nations who make a rushing like the rushing of mighty waters. But God will rebuke them, and they will flee away, and be chased like the chaff of the mountains before the wind, like a rolling thing before the whirlwind. Isaiah 17:12 and 13.
For all the noise they make, Yahweh is apparently not impressed with the combined military might of the United Nations. Though they flow against him like a mighty river, they will be damned. Could it be that the Battle of Armageddon will be a United Nations affair? It sure sounds likely.
For behold, in those days and at that time, when I bring back the captives of Yehuda and Jerusalem, I will also gather all nations, and bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat, and I will enter into judgment with them there. Joel 3:1 and 2.
We're going to have to defer the subject of Armageddon until our timeline catches up, of course. Right now, we're just looking at the setup, the unprecedented gathering of all nations for war. Not convinced that the United Nations is being prophesied? Let's consult another prophet.
Wait for me, says Yahweh, until the day I rise up to plunder. My determination is to gather the nations to my assembly of kingdoms, to pour on them my indignation, all my fierce anger. All the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. Zephaniah 3:8.
Where's that Security Council veto when you need it? Where are all those diplomats that consistently maintain that all war is bad? This time there are no dissenting voices. Let's all go to Israel and teach those warmongering Jews a lesson once and for all. As long as we're already so far ahead of our story, let's take a peek at what happens to the UN after the Battle of Armageddon. The nations have changed their tune, it appears. Their armies are now buzzard bait, but Israel still stands tall. In fact, they are now the world's only superpower.
You have delivered me, Israel, from the strivings of the people. You have made me the head of the nations. A people I have not known shall serve me. As soon as they hear of me, they obey me. The foreigners submit to me. The foreigners fade away and come frightened from their hideouts. Psalm 18:43-45.
God's purpose, however, is not so much to punish the nations as it is to draw them to himself. Once he has reestablished a repentant Israel, it is Yahweh's wish and prediction that all nations, whatever's left of them, will honor the true and living God for 1,000 years in the hills of Jerusalem. It is only then, after all the battles have been fought, that the last of the world's Jews will be brought to the promised land, in love and honor this time, and not as before as a deceitful prelude to intended genocide. They will be relocated as an offering to Yahweh.
It shall be that I will gather all nations and all tongues, and they shall come and see my glory. I shall set a sign among them, and those among them who escape I will send to the nations, to Tarshish, and Pul, and Lud, who draw the bow, and Tubal, and Javan, to the coastlands afar off, who have not heard my fame, nor seen my glory, and they shall declare my glory among the Gentiles. Then they shall bring all your brethren for an offering to Yahweh out of the nations, on horses and in chariots and in litters, on mules and on camels, to my holy mountain in Jerusalem, says Yahweh, as the children of Yisrael bring an offering in a clean vessel into the house of Yahweh. Isaiah 66:18-20.
In the chapters to come, we will trace the details of how Yahweh will accomplish all this. The complete upending of the world's established order and the establishment in its place of Israel as the center of world power under their eternal king, Yahshua. We will see how technology, apostasy, the rise of Islam, nuclear and biochemical warfare, famine, plague, political upheaval, and natural disaster will all play their parts in God's eventual restoration of the earth to a state of pristine peace. Through these events, Yahweh will achieve nothing less than the renewed holiness of planet Earth, the separation and removal of all things evil, and the setting apart and establishment of all that is good. The government will at last rest upon the shoulders of the Prince of Peace. Yahshua told his disciples to look for the signs heralding the last days, signs that, like the inevitable budding of the fig trees as summer approaches, will tell us that the day of his coming is drawing near. We have done as he said. We have examined the fig tree, and there can be no doubt. Summer is almost here.